in general, like you and I are two of the richest humans that have ever existed on the face of the planet. If you consider the 110 billion humans that came before us,
great point.
We're of as far as wealth is concerned, like I don't have any food scarcity. I live in a building like still like you can live a middle-class existence, and compared to your ancestors, you're exceptionally
wealthy as can be. Yeah.
So there's two ways to look at it. Number one, the overall human experience, I think, is going to get better, right? In general, because we're going to have holodecks and faster high-speed internet, and artificial intelligence is going to solve a lot of our problems. But what's going to happen is those at the top are going to have even disproportionately more. And then we get into really scary topics when it comes to, like, for instance, augmentations of the brain, putting a computer chip in there instead of an amygdala, and then being able to access the internet in your brain. You're going to have a group of people that are augmented, and they have massive advantages when it comes to productivity and work. And then a group of people that are like, no, I'm never going to do this. I'm never putting any of these chips in my body, and they're going to have a massive disadvantage. I think that's something you can expect to see in the future. I'm not saying it's good or bad. Remember, there's a difference between descriptive and normative. But to describe, that is most definitely something that you expect to see. You see Elon Musk trying to push the Neuralink stuff. The thing is, if you don't want to get Neuralink, and I don't blame most people who wouldn't want to get it. The problem is what happens is in 50 years, when the people who you compete with, you graduated from Harvard, but you're competing with a guy who's a cyborg, he's going to beat you. Yeah. And that's essentially what's going to happen. That's something you can look forward to.
Bro, I could talk to you all day, easy, like for 1,000 hours of just intriguing conversation. I go toe to toe with you. This is really cool. It's so hard because I could take this conversation. We could keep going that direction. I'm like thinking, what's the best form of government? There's so many questions I have for you.
I got till 6:15.
All right, brother.
We can go another hour and.
Oh man, I won't max you out all the way, brother. But my point is there's so many levels to you of depth that intriguingly spark the brain. Anyone's listening I guarantee if anyone with intelligence is, they're lighting on fire now. And even if you've sparked a triggered them, it's a great debate, a great conversation about just humanity in general, what works, what doesn't, why it does. But you're right. All this speaks to an evolutionary reality where the ground we've covered, and we're now going into this unique unseen territory. It's funny. I just got back from Dubai, and every time I go to these unique places, bro, I just look down at like what humans are capable of doing. I mean, Dubai makes Vegas look like a little crack town. It just blows my mind.
It's so crazy. I was just talking to somebody about this. We were talking about evolutionary theory, and then like, what's the point of studying it? It was me, Homath. There was a biologist, I believe his name was Corey, and then Destiny. We were having a debate on PWF's channel on Sunday.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And while we were doing that, one of the questions was like, why do we study this? Like, wouldn't it be better to just go out there and get information from dating? And my whole thing was, gravity is still a theory. It is. We've never actually experienced a graviton. We've never measured one. I know the flat earthers are like literally getting an erection listening to me say this, but like gravity is still a theory. It is, even though we know it to be true. We've never actually measured a graviton. We can judge by dropping different objects that they drop at about 9.81 meters per second squared. And so since we know that, eventually someone has to build a Burj Khalifa. So even though it's a theory, did they still build the building?
Sure.
But when you build the Burj Khalifa, you did so incorporating gravity in the engineering. Am I wrong? Do you not use Newtonian physics
100%.
Whenever you build something like that? Of course you do, right? So in order to do that, when you come to that realization, at some point you have to take these things that you're studying, and someone has to take action. Just like in evolutionary studies, eventually you want to go out and meet the girl. And just like when it comes to physics, eventually you want to put a ship in space, and eventually you want to build a 2,700 foot skyscraper.
Sure.
So at some point, somebody has to take some fucking action and stop second guessing themselves and always questioning ideas. Eventually, somebody has to take action. Yeah. Those are the bold ones.